We're back with yet another episode of the Property Source and Success Show. Tonight, I want to talk to you about something that you can do, should do, to do more deals. And this was actually a question that was asked by Amy, one of the lovely girls inside our Six-Figure Sourcing Mastermind program. And the question she asked was, Danielle, if viewing a property via an agent, do we have to have an offer submitted and accepted before we bring it to our investor? Now, that's a great question, and it's one that a lot of people get themselves in an absolute muddle about. There's also a lot of absolute shite taught that encourages people to do that very approach. So I want to make things really crystal clear for you guys on the podcast. Under absolutely no circumstances, not a single one, should you submit an offer on a property, agent or otherwise, before you have identified a solid investor and walk them through the deal. That is important. So I'm going to say that again, just so you're really aware of what it is I'm saying. Under no circumstances, nada, niente, none, should you submit an offer on a property, whether it's with an agent or direct to vendor, before you are crystal clear, 100% bona fide, have identified a solid investor for that and actually walk them through the deal. Now, I don't care what courses that you have been on. I don't care what you have previously been taught. I don't care who you've been mentored by, and I don't care what your other property pals say. Just to be abundantly clear in case you weren't aware of that. But submitting an offer on a property without a solid buyer in place who has agreed to pay you, who has agreed to pay for that property what is being offered is nothing short of career suicide. And trust me, I should know because I made this mistake a lot when I first dipped my toes into the sourcing waters. So after like 8 years of making all the mistakes, there were a lot of mistakes, this is exactly what I told Amy she should do in order to secure and source more deals and ultimately make more money, particularly if it's via an agent. And as we all know, I do love a good deal through an agent. Now, I call this our best and final framework, and we spoke about this in the Mastermind program quite recently. So take notes on this. Number one, you identify, let's say the property has been identified online via an agent, or it's an off-market opportunity that's been passed along. That's step number one. You are in possession of an opportunity. Step number two, you will want to run your initial due diligence and your desktop analysis to ensure that the property in question meets 70% or more of your investor's initial criteria. Remember, sourcing bespoke is the preferred option. Sourcing by throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that something will stick is also not a great way to make money. So you will only really want to put deals in front of your investor, opportunities in front of your investors that meet 70% or more of their criteria. If you start bringing them apples when they asked you for oranges, they will tell you to fuck off. Third point, upon completion of the initial due diligence and analysis, so that's your comparables, your tenant demographics, your area analysis, your resale values, refurb required, refinance value, rent roll, etc. Upon completion of that initial due diligence aspect, if that property meets the initial criteria of your investor, then you get to move on to stage four. And stage four is what we call in our business the show and tell. Stage four, you'll pull together a brief document, the show and tell document, outlining the headline figures of the deal in question. You will arrange a call with your investor and you will walk them through the key headline information. And you will highlight to them how and where it meets their criteria. That's just a box ticking exercise. You're just reiterating to them what you've told me you're looking for, I have now put in front of you. It is at this point of the process that we introduce what we call our best and final approach. That's step 5. During the conversation with your investor, you will walk them through, remember, based on your analysis, the best price that you would like to secure the deal for, which is essentially your starting offer, which is going to be low. We know that. And your final price that you will end your offering on, i.e. your walkaway price. So best price, our entry-level offer, our final, our walkaway offer. And then you will proceed to ask this question of your investor. Based on what we have discussed here today, take notes on this, by the way, guys, because this is fucking gold. Are you happy for me to proceed negotiating on this property on your behalf between the parameters that we have walked through, best and final. I have rarely had that answer be no. The answer, in fact, I think has always been yes. So this approach completely removes any risk of you submitting an offer only to be left red-faced with an agent or a vendor. Same approach applies when your investor refuses to proceed based on the offer that you've submitted without pre-approval. So adopting this approach, the best and final framework, the next time you have an opportunity worth reviewing will give you certainty in your negotiation, knowing that actually if the offer I put forward is accepted, your investor has actually already given the go-ahead, which in turn spurs you to close the deal and collect the fees. Throwing out random numbers, guys, in the hope that someone will bite rarely works. So what I want you to do is, you may need to listen to this episode back just to run through the 5 points of what the best and final is. Again, you'll certainly want to listen to it again to get that really strategic question we ask the investors just as we come to the close of the best and final framework. But please give it a go. Let me know in the comment section if this has been helpful. If you're listening to this back on Spotify, join us over in the community inside Property Sourcing Made Simple. We're in here every week dropping hints, tips, tricks, and methodologies that you can use to scale your portfolio building business. So let me know, best and final framework. Does it sound like it could be useful? Will it result in you doing more deals? Absolutely. Does throwing offers in like spaghetti at the wall make you earn more money? No, it doesn't. It makes you look like a dickhead. And the chances are that 9 times out of 10, you will throw an offer in. The investor will say, absolutely not. I'm not paying that price for that property. And you have to go back with your tail between the legs to the agent and say, sorry, can't proceed. Hope this has been useful, guys. Have a lovely evening, and I'll see you next week.